XP are looking at a site. Hopefully none of our competition are listening. It's quite a small site, but we decided to push a land promotion on it. Our business is trying to take on sites between sort of 5 and 40 units is kind of our bag. This site's a bit smaller than our sort of minimum threshold. The typical way most bidders will be looking at this is conditional offer. So because we have the surveying business, the architectural practice at our fingertips and the knowledge to get the planning consent that we like, we thought actually there's probably a better way to work this. And that way is to essentially promote the site. The way that a promote structure works is you have a JV agreement that's drawn up. There's a value of the land attached to it in its current form. Highest return on investment, land promo, and what is it? So if you've been on our channel before and you've been listening to us talk about various different things, you've probably heard us talk about subject to planning permission, and you've probably heard us talk about conditional offers and things like that. XP are looking at a site. We actually got a bidder on it today. Hopefully none of our competition are listening. It's quite a small site, so I don't think we will overlap with anyone. But we decided to push a land promotion on it. Why not? Talk through a land promotion, talk through how it works, also talk about why this particular site benefited, we personally think, from a land promotion. So our business is trying to take on sites between sort of 5 and 40 units is kind of our bag. This site's a bit smaller than our sort of minimum threshold, and it's a planning play. So the typical way most bidders will be looking at this is conditional offer. It's a field, it's a very small field. The typical bid will be a conditional offer to buy the field. The buyer, the developer, goes through the planning process to secure the planning. When the planning is consented, that condition is then relieved. So they then buy the site for, whatever value. Because it's quite a small site, that's a lot of aggro. And to get it all acquired and build up the limited company and find the investment and to deliver the site, we think it's a little bit fiddly. So because we have the surveying business, the architectural practice at our fingertips and the knowledge to get the planning consent that we like, we thought actually there's probably a better way to work this. And that way is to essentially promote the site, which sounds like we're going to get a megaphone and start talking about this site. It's not really the case. The way that a promote structure works is you have a JV agreement that's drawn up. It's between developer or planner and the landowner. There's a value of the land attached to it in its current form.
If you're getting value from this video, please subscribe down below, but do us one bigger favor and share it with just one person you think will get value from this. Thank you very much. Back to the video.
So let's just use, for argument's sake, this field on the screen is worth 500 grand as a farmer's field. That is the land value that gets thrown into the specific value. You sometimes don't have land value, and I'll come on to that shortly, but a land value for what it is today. The planning team would then spend maybe 100 grand on planning to secure the planning. So the total costs for that site to get the consent is about 600k. You would then sell it on the open market to a national home builder or another buyer or someone that's more competitive at delivering a smaller site to realise the best value in the market, whatever the profit is. So let's say the site was sold for £1 million. That means there's £400,000 profit, minus agents' fees and things like that. So it's a very easy way to get a really high cash on cash return. On massive sites, a promoter would typically expect about 20 to 25% of the uplift. And in our case, because it's a much smaller site, we've pitched 50-50, which is fair for a much smaller site. You can sort of 3, 4, maybe even 5 extra capital. And I've actually heard some land promoters get significantly higher than that on their promotional structure. You don't have to buy the site. Your structure that you agree with the landowner means that you're collectively selling it on the open market. Agents might be a little bit bemused while you're doing that process, but as long as you talk them into selling the land with the planning at the end, they're typically on board. And you can kind of negotiate it as you please. So you typically deduct all the costs and then obviously you split the profit. Where I mentioned you might not have a land value that's crystallized in the deal is a lot of like the farming type of land promotion. So I'm talking thousands of acres. They don't have a land value on that because the value of the site consented kind of doesn't really make a material difference. So in that particular structure, you get planning on a site that's maybe 1,000 homes and the site's worth, 100 million quid. You might say the promoter gets 10%, but it might cost them £1 million to get the consent. They're taking the risk and the landowner just sort of sits back and benefits from that skills and expertise to get the consent. So all I would say is if you're bidding on any sites where you think that there's value to be had in planning, but not necessarily development, that might work really well. If it's too big for you to deliver, why would you want to buy buy it, you might as well promote that site and make benefit of just carrying the site pre-planning to post-planning to the market. And it's kind of quite a nice collaborative way because you're all incentivized to do it as quickly as you can, get the best value as you can, as cheaply as you can, and get the site done and dusted. So yeah, it's kind of like option-y conditional purchases and then assigning an option, but you're being quite upfront and collaborating with the landowner from the outset.
If you got value from this video, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell because we release one video at least every week, so be the first to get notified. See you on the next one.